Now, most people keep a car in their garage, but not Lizzie Platt. She has bats in her garage.
Yes. What do we got? Well, this is my little setup here in the garage. So we have small pens and lots of containers for when they first come in. They don't naturally go into these pens the second they come into care. We keep them into individual ones while we can assess them, keep them on heater pads, make sure that the injuries are possible to cure. So this would give them a chance, the smaller species, to be able to flutter back and forth the pen, just enough space. So in this one we've got a brown long-eared bat. He's quite sleepy. Winter time is coming, and the temperature in the garage will only go down to about 6 degrees, which it's quite humid in here. It's quite a nice temperature for them to drop into torpor, although they don't hibernate completely down here. But it's a stable temperature, which is what they're looking for in the winter anyway.
This is exciting for me, Lizzie, because I've never ever seen a brown long-eared bat in real life.
And here we go. This is
now lifting the bat
this morning
from the cage.
And now we have got our very sleepy little brown long-eared bat.
I'm in love.
His
beautiful.
You see his wing, his ears are actually tucked underneath. There, he's tucked underneath his forearms. So when you actually have a little look at him, you can only see the tragus. My fingers are a little bit fidgety, I'm afraid.
Absolutely beautiful.
He's quite cold at the moment, so he's very, very sleepy.
Oh. So what do you feed them on?
Mealworms generally in care. I obviously couldn't nip out and net all the insects and all the different moss species that they like, and they are quite particular. If I had a barbastellin, they're very much a specific moth species.
Yeah.
And in fact, actually, we did have one, and a gentleman called Matt Zeal was doing some research for Exeter University on what these bats, that particular species, was eating.
Right.
And we actually tried to catch quite a lot of moths, and he wasn't very keen on any of the ones that we were trying, so it was a bit of a failure, really. But we did our best. So yeah, he's too cold to actually pump his ears up. As he would warm up, he would take about 20 minutes to warm up completely for a sensible temperature for him to fly. During the winter, that's obviously, this is why you shouldn't disturb them, because that 20 minutes to use all that energy would burn up all their fat reserves, and it would only probably give them enough chance to, you know, he's a very chubby little boy at the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
He's going to be in till spring, and then hopefully we can get him back out again. He would probably go through all the winter if nobody disturbed him, looking at the size of him. This is the trouble with bats in care. They can get a little bit large at times. Even though when I put him up into the bat flight, he flies reasonably well, but he doesn't sustain his flight at the moment, so he isn't capable of going to be released. He's a medium-sized bat, so he's got quite large feet, beautiful long nails.
Yeah. Look at that. How easy is it to sex a bat?
Oh, it's very easy. Their tails are tucked underneath. Actually, let's see if I just try not to disturb him too much.
Oh yes.
Please never handle bats like this if you ever got them in the wild. Please gather them up with a cloth or a gloved hand. This is and he's not going to show me because his little tail is so tucked. I won't disturb him too much because but his tail actually is quite long and will come to about here.
Right.
And so, oh look, here's some wings.
Look at that. Beautiful.
You see his little heart beating a little bit faster than it was before as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, any new bat that we have into care, he has been in a little while, any new bat that we have into care we always handle with gloves. You know, you have to be careful with any wild animal, and certainly if they're grounded they often have a few more bugs on them perhaps that they've picked up from being on the floor. And so
that little face, look at that little face. Beautiful long-eared bat, lovely long ears. It's just that's lovely.
Yeah, as he would warm up, those ears would be right up high, just as long as his body. Here we go.
That's the first for me.
He's beautiful, isn't he?
He's absolutely stunning.
They're very rabbity looking, I always think. Oh look, his ears go. That is so dear. Yeah, I really feel quite ashamed of myself that I was so frightened of them and I actually saw them into care. It's like, oh goodness, how could I have been scared of that?
It's a complete turnaround for you, isn't it? From hate to love.
I know. Well, this is why this is why I enjoy educating so much, because the fact I can understand people's fears. And so that's really nice. And if somebody's made that effort to bring a bat into care, and some people are sitting in the kitchen trembling and drinking cups of tea while I'm tears pouring down their face, oh my goodness, I've handled a bat. But they really realise they're incredibly gentle animals, and it is so worth actually just understanding them a little bit better. I try and encourage people that bring bats into care to come back and see how they progress, and to bring the family, and to get information, and pass it on. It's like pyramid selling for bats, isn't it, really?
Yes,
Yeah, let's just get it out there. Here we are, put him back.
I want to hook you up again.
Yeah.
Nice big cage as well.
It's handy for them. It's just a nice size. In the summer, or if we're test flying, they go up to a flight pen in the top of the garden. So they live in a bat shed, and then they will use the space as they need. It's not a particularly large flight pen, but it does its job really well.
Yeah.
So that's the long-eared bat.
Right, okay.
And so now we've got pipistrelles in this one. I haven't got any recent intakes, so all of these are going to be with me through the winter.
Right.
And then hopefully some of them will go back out in the spring. Some of them probably won't go back out, but it's quite useful having an older, longer-term rescue bat in with the newer editions, because it helps them to learn to eat out of bowls.
Right.
And also with the younger ones, it carries on with the social chatter that they need. If you brought a baby bat into care and you kept it on its own, it's not necessarily going to learn the skills that it's going to need for going back out again to the wild.
You've got a fair mixture in the actual tank. The cage itself is bits of wood and bits of egg box in there. And,
well, that's it. It's trying to, and I change all the stuff very, very regularly, because they need to be active, and they're very, very nosy animals, and so as much as you can actually keep stuff that they would find out in the wild as well, little holes, little bits and pieces, just for things for them to do and to play, to encourage them to move. If you just had a pen and you just hung them up in the corner, they're just not going to do anything apart from eat. This is part of their physio, actually, in actually moving around. So we have somewhere. Oh, here's a couple down here.
They're tiny, aren't they?
And I think I'm feeling around here. I'm guessing this is where they all are. They probably aren't, but this is rather
hanging from this cloth.
Yeah.
Here we go. I can see two hanging from the cloth there at least.
Let's get one out for you. There's probably about 5 in this corner.
Just picking a bat from the cloth.
And this is a pipistrelle. I think we've got a common pipistrelle. Oh, I shall leave that. Ooh. Excuse me a second, it's falling down off the back. That's it. Better be safe.
First thing I notice is the difference in size between that and the brown long-eared bat.
Yeah, absolutely. Brown long-eared is really more of a medium-sized bat, and the pipistrelle is the smallest of our species. And we've got 3 types of pipistrelle. We've got common pipistrelle, soprano pipistrelle and Nethusius pipistrelle in the UK. There's more species in Europe, but they haven't come across.
How would you tell those apart from each other?
This wing membrane you can see with the veins. We can say with a common pipistrelle, they've got more of a bandit look about them. It's almost like a mask across the top. The soprano pipistrelles are much paler to look at. Tiny little feet.
Tiny little feet
In comparison to the long-eared. Again, those great little nails. I absolutely adore their nails. Ignore my nails. Just look at the lovely bat's nails. And dear little furry bottoms sticking up in the air.
Oh, yes. All wildlife
Hello.
to show their bottom, don't they?
Yes, there we go.
Oh, that is a very cute little face.
Look, he's saying, oh, I'm really very sleepy and I'm not really that keen on being handled today.
He's saying, go away.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Look how nicely they sit. I think if you're not frightened of something, though, they just accept the fact that you're going to look after them, and you know, a bitey bat would be a very stressed, unhappy bat. That's not its natural thing. It's not its natural state at all. I mean, this little chap will have a 6-inch wingspan. This is the ones that you're more likely to see flying around at dusk. And, you know, they could live to 16 years of age. In an ideal situation, that is. Again, though, I mean, you know, we are losing some of our species of even pipistrelles a little bit. They're beginning to go down because of changes in farming and our pesticide use, and like we were talking about upstairs, you know, the fact that we're putting cavity wall insulation, and this little chap can flatten off and he can go, you know, so many places. If I lose him in the garage, which I have occasionally lost them in the garage, I've been down here night after night waiting for them to fly.
So what would that feed in the wild? Tiny little moths?
Yeah, little gnats, midges, that kind of stuff. Not so much beetles. The long-eareds would be more eating the beetles. I mean, a long-eared bat will eat, well, you can hear, with their great big ears, I mean, they can hear a ladybird walking on a leaf, so, and they can hover and then land to pick it off. And these little pipistrelles are more moth-like in their appearance when they're flying around. I mean, you'll often see pips, you know, round a street light. If there's bugs round a street light, you'll see these little chaps sort of flying around with them as well.
I've seen that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, around by your patio lights. See their little wrists at the front? This is the wrist, and this is their little thumbs. Okay, and then you've got your elbows.
Little thumb, isn't it?
Shoulders up here. And
Diddy thumb. It's really small.
As they're all a little bit torpid, I won't open up their wings for you, and normally if they're a little bit warmed up I could show you their wings, but it's not a good idea to disturb them too much at this state. Hello.
Hello.
You. You're sitting so beautifully, aren't you?
Beautiful little creature. Just sat on Lizzie's hand. Smiling away.
When you think, you know, I mean, if you think something this small could live till 16 years of age, it's incredible, isn't it?
When you think that, although they're not related to mice, you think how long mice and shrews live. I mean, compared to a bat.
I know, and they only have one baby a year and not every year, and only 1 in 4 of those are probably going to live past 2.
Right.
So this is why our numbers, they don't increase that fast. You know, you lose your opportunity, and if the weather is really appalling, because they mate more or less in the autumn, and then the female will store the sperm over winter until approximately April, the bugs are back out, and then they will carry on the pregnancy process. But if the weather turns really nasty, they are capable of halting the pregnancy, and if it carried on going, they are actually capable of aborting the babies to protect the roost and themselves. It's quite a... You think these have been around since really the end of the dinosaurs, perhaps even earlier than that. You know, they're doing what they do very, very well.
Very complex sort of structure. Very, very clever creatures.
Well, you think they've developed their skills, which are pretty much constant, but they've still managed to keep on going through all this amount of time. Yes, we're losing the odd 1 or 2 species around, but we're still discovering new ones. I mean, I think we found about 9 species this year. Yeah. We're up to about 1,300 bat species around the world. Huge amount, really.
Yes, yeah. You are beautiful.
Yes.
You are lovely. Just sat there.
Just sat there so nicely for the camera.
Yeah. You really are a lovely little creature.
Yeah, I waste far too much time in the garage at night, because obviously I watch them when they're moving around in the night, and which is kind of quite nice. They're very trusting. The fact they've got used to me enough to allow me to sit here, although not with the lights on. I use a red light in the night. They don't seem to see it so much, and it won't affect them as well.
No.
But
thanks ever so much for showing me your bats.
And we've got a big noctule up in the bat shed at the top of the garden, if you'd like to see.
Oh yes, please. Yes,
and that's the bat flight as well. So I'll put him back.
They stick fairly easily, don't they?
Yes.
Velcro creatures.
They are really, yeah. I know. The temptation is to hang them up all over your jumper, really. Just
wear your bat with pride.
Yes, this is it. Lovely. Would you be all right climbing over this?
Yes.
It's kind of
yes.
everything's a little bit
No,
wedged,
that's fine.
So.
Now this is a garden shed with a difference. Just hang on, so I can climb over it. Come on, you can move it. Oh, look at this. Now that's a big bat. This is Britain's biggest bat, isn't it?
This is, yeah. And this is Bertie. Bertie the knockjaw.
Whoa.
Yes, Bertie was found on barbed wire on the southwest coast path. He'd obviously been there a while. He's put quite, oh no, sweetie. He's put quite a lot of weight on now. He likes it up here at the moment. I'm trying to encourage him to keep on moving because he had some injuries. He's doing quite well. His wing membrane's not going to heal up for quite a long time. But this gets very warm in here at the moment, so it gives him the space to move around.
Yeah.
He's actually ideal.
That's Britain's biggest bat. What size is his wingspan?
Pretty much a 16-inch.
Really?
Yeah, it's a big bat.
Yeah.
Flying at 35 miles an hour as well. Very high as swifts. People mistake them for swifts, actually.
Right, now I've seen years ago as a child saw bats. There's a group of 2 or 3 flying overhead, and they look huge. I presume it was nocturnes I was seeing.
They do huge, great dives as well. So they'll dive right down for something like a beetle, like a cockchafer beetle as well, something like that. They will just dive straight out of and swipe along the ground. Amazing to watch.
So they go for the big meaty insects then, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the big beetles, the really large moths. He's having a really good look. Yeah.
They've got lovely faces, haven't they?
Oh, he's just beautiful. He's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm trying to resist the temptation to handling him too much, actually. I really want to, and he does like a little bit of a cuddle and a stroke. But the thing is, he is going to go back to the wild again. I feel a bit sorry for him being here on his own at the moment, so I come and sit and watch him in the evening.
How long do you think he'll be in here then before he's released?
He's going to go back in the spring.
In the spring.
I wouldn't be releasing anything now, to be honest with you.
No.
Unless something was brought into me, for example, for a builder, or somebody found a bat hanging in the porch that has just appeared, and if on a mild night, and there's obviously nothing wrong with them, we would try and get it back out to the wild. But anything that's injured, I think, okay, well, we're overwintering them now. So we are quite, we're quite small in numbers. There's only about 8 pipistrelles in the garage, along with a long-eared, and then Bertie here, and obviously this little one that's decided to hang up outside this morning. So I don't know what you were doing there. You were probably behind the wood.
This is great. You're lovely, aren't you?
When you look at the comparison, let's just put the comparison here.
This is great. The pipistrelle next to the noctule, and it's half its size, if not more. It's really small. It's like little and large, isn't it?
Yeah,
Laurel and Hardy.
I know. They're very similar in appearance, really. When you think, I always think that they are incredibly alike. It is just the difference in size.
Yeah. Look at that.
So I wonder if I actually wonder if these two have been making friends. They don't normally have a pipistrelle and a noctule in here together. So unless when the door was open last night that this one came in.
Oh, so it's my big brother.
Yes, Phil, there we are.
How hopeful are you, Lizzie, of the future of bats in this country?
I think we're going to be all right. I think we need to be a little bit more stringent in keeping the links between our green spaces. If we don't, we are going to be in trouble, because a little pipistrelle can eat about 3,000 insects a night. That's a huge amount of insects. So without these little things, we're going to be really overrun with insects. I don't think people appreciate the fact that they are so much an important part of our landscape, really. And also, as far as farmers are concerned as well, if you're having an organic farm, you are obviously wanting bats around.
Yeah. As a final question, is there anything we can do to help bat conservation in our homes?
I would suggest put up bat boxes. That's the best thing to do. Try and plant stuff that is going to attract the night flying insects and moths. So, and consider the Bat Conservation Trust has a wonderful website, and it contains a lot of information about gardening for bats. So garden for your wildlife anyway. Encourage the insects, have the compost heaps in the garden. You know, it seems a shame to put everything on a dump when we can have it all here and we can recycle it back into the earth. That's going to attract all the insects that the bats need. But bat boxes are great because as we are losing, if we're having cavity wall insulation, we need to still provide a place for them to go.
Yeah.
Even if they're not using the bat box an enormous amount, they may be aware that it is there and they can use it if they so wish. And if it's in the wrong place, after 2 years nobody's had a little sniff at it, well, you can move it and no doubt that would be a better position.
Right. Well, Lizzie Platt, lover of bats great and small. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for talking to me.